What is going on, guys? This is Walk Talk Football, the show where we talk about everything that's on your mind. This week we are in Chinatown, NYC, and we got a lot of good submissions from you guys, so let's walk. All right, guys, so first up, we've got a lot of submissions about Gold Cup, so let's talk Gold Cup. Allison wants to know, should I put money on the U.S. to win the Gold Cup? I think yes, you should put money on the U.S. to win. First of all, I don't think you should be gambling if you're not old enough to gamble. Gambling is something that I don't do, but if you feel like putting money on it, I think the U.S. are the favorites. They brought in Michael Bradley, Clint Dempsey, Tim Howard, some of these reinforcements to help get this team the result in the finals. Obviously, they got to get through Costa Rica in the semifinals, which I think they'll do, but I do think they're currently the favorites, even though I think Mexico were the favorites coming into it, so put that money on it if you want to. Next up, thoughts on the Danish League season. Brøndby beat my old team, your old team, my old team, Nordsjælland 4-0. What are my thoughts? Well, it's just the first match of the season. 4-0, it's a great win, but the reality is that the Danish League has 4 teams in Copenhagen, which I think is really, really cool. And though Nordsjælland lost and perhaps they're not as big as Brøndby or FC Copenhagen, they have this really cool thing called Right to Dream Academy. So I don't know if you guys know about it, but it's basically a charity school initiative academy that's in Ghana, and they bring a lot of players up to give them opportunities, education, opportunities to play professionally, and it's working really well. So I'll forgive them for losing 4-0 in their opener just because they're doing some pretty cool stuff there. Next, Jackson wants to know, Liverpool still need more. Is it possible for them to still send Van Dijk and Keita? Also, what's your take on Leva transfer? I don't agree with it. Well, let's start with the Leva thing. I think this is tough for Liverpool because apparently he was the locker room guy that kept Coutinho happy. Not just Coutinho, but a lot of the other guys. He was the guy who hosted the dinner parties, kept the team together, the group together, things like that. So I think you lose one of those really, really important guys in your locker room. Having said that, it seems like Jurgen Klopp is waiting things out. He knows who he wants and he just seems to be playing that game. It's a dangerous game because the Premier League is wide open this year. Chelsea hasn't made any big signings. They could still lose Costa. You've got Tottenham not spending a lot of money yet. So you have all these things, and I think it's a real chance for Liverpool to be able to move up in the table and really challenge for, even potentially for a title, but they've got to get players. And if they don't get players, they're kind of flirting with disaster in the transfer window, hoping that something good happens. Next, talk about RSL getting 10 goals in 2 games. I think that's huge for RSL. Obviously, they've struggled quite a bit. They made a coaching change. Pecky went through a great start in his first couple of games, and then they hit a real rough patch, and to score 2 goals or 10 goals away in 2 games, both of those games away, I think is amazing for RSL. Hopefully they get back to track. Kyle Beckerman, my boy, what a sick goal you scored the other day. Amazing, smashed it. The young Kyle Beckerman that I remember ever since the days at residency when we were 15, 16 years old in Florida. So I think it's pretty cool. Hopefully they create a lot more competition. And the league is built around getting on a nice little run. So 2 wins in a row, you turn that into 3 wins, you go from being at the bottom of the table, you can be right back in to a playoff position. When will Europe accept Pulisic as a great talent? Not many seem to give him credit. I think for us, that's an actual gift, right? The more credit he gets, the more hype he gets, the more he's gonna have to live up to this unexpected level that he might not ever reach. So he's getting enough love to give him confidence to be better, but he's not kind of on this global level where now they expect him to score every game or have an assist every game, and that can be very detrimental to players and their development. So I think it's okay that he's not getting the hype, but I do think he does deserve it. He is definitely one of the best U21 players in Europe right now, and you can just see in the preseason just how important he is for the team. What do I think of Toluca FC not typing, that's a typo. What do you think of Toluca FC against Atletico in their Centenario? I think it's great that they were able to pull a team like, first of all, for those of you guys who don't understand, Toluca is celebrating their 100-year history, and they were able to get Atletico Madrid to come and play them later on in this month, I believe, or maybe it's a year from now. I don't know. I think it's this month, but they're celebrating the 100-year history, and they got Atletico Madrid, which is such a big club, to be able to come and play them in a friendly in that match. So that's pretty amazing, and you know, says a lot about Toluca and what 100-year history means to them. Scoreline prediction for USA versus Costa Rica, I'm saying 2-1 to the US. I don't know who's going to score, but I have the faith that the US are going to get through the semifinals and get to a final. If the US win the Gold Cup, will you shave your head bald? No. Next one. Name one player Man United need before the transfer window slams shut. That's a very dramatic tweet. The transfer window just closes like everything else. We don't have to talk about it slamming shut. It just literally closes, and there's so much time beforehand to get things done. But I say Eric Dyer. I think he'd be a great signing. Apparently Eric Dyer wants to leave, but Spurs don't want to move him for obvious reasons. He's an incredible player. All right, guys, next up, thoughts on Naby Keita for a potential 80 million. I mean, this is a sign of the times. One, RB Leipzig don't need to sell him. They don't need the money. They've got a plan there. He fits still in that plan with his age, with his talent level. So they're playing Champions League as well. So, you know, if they want to keep him, they're going to keep him. Price him to a point where you think it's realistic to keep him. And if somebody wants to pay that much, so be it. I mean, that's what market value is in their mind. Somebody has to be willing to pay it to get him out of that contract. What's the deal with lack of moves for Spurs? Any chance Borussia Dortmund will give up Pulisic? Anything in the works for MLS All-Star? Yeah, we'll be at MLS All-Star doing Walk Talk Football. We're going to do FFS. We're also going to be on the ground, hopefully doing some stuff with some of the players. Hopefully we'll get access to Real Madrid players. I don't know. But either way, we're going to do some stuff with MLS guys. All-Stars, obviously, you've seen the roster. Lots of big name players that we're excited to work with. So we'll be there. In terms of Spurs, I don't know what their strategy is. Hopefully they'll sell Eric Dyer, use some of that money to bring in some better players, but they still have Harry Kane, who's the best striker in the Premier League. So I think they'll end up just fine. And then Dortmund selling Pulisic, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think he should leave yet. 1 or 2 more years of that, and he could easily go to a Barcelona, Real Madrid, a Manchester United club like that. Which is better, Morata to Chelsea or Lukaku to Manchester United? That's the 70 to 80 million euro pound question, whatever. I don't know who's going to be better. I'd like to see Morata do well. Lukaku's proven in the Premier League, but now Morata has to figure out how the Premier League runs. He's going to be playing on a team that might not always have possession of the ball, which he's used to, but they are a team that has the quality to get results. Do I think Mbappe should stay in Monaco or leave? I think he should stay for 1 more year and then leave. Make his price tag a little more realistic and hopefully not put too much pressure on him to be the next Thierry Henry or the next global superstar. Who do I think will make the top 6 in the Premier League this coming season? Man U, Chelsea, City, Everton, Arsenal, Liverpool. Yes, I've taken Tottenham out of that list. I don't know why, because they were so good and they're going to be good again this year, but they haven't made any moves in the transfer window, and that's a little bit startling to me, even though Chelsea hasn't really either, and Liverpool really hasn't either. I'm just taking the hot shot, and of course, I've got to put Arsenal, who also aren't making a lot of big signings, on this list. They got Lacazette. I'm excited to see what they do, and I've got to say they're going to finish top 6 just out of my love for them. What else have we got here? With the possibility of signing Aguero or Sanchez, do we think Chelsea did right choosing Morata instead? Yes, I think Morata has a lot more upside. He's younger. Both Sanchez, Arsenal's already said Sanchez is not being sold. Aguero has also been told by City they're not going to sell him to Chelsea because why would they? And he's an important part of that team. We saw last year when Gabriel Jesus got injured, Aguero was their best player for a long stretch, so I get it. But Morata, we'll see if he is the right signing, but I think in terms of actually realistically being able to get him, it makes sense. Thoughts on Chicharito going to West Ham? Well, we talked about Joe Hart. I was kind of disappointed that he went to a club like West Ham, 30 years old, with his resume, should go to a bigger club. But now you add Chicharito, maybe you add 1 or 2 more signings and you're like, okay, this team's actually doing something special here, and they could be the West Ham that we saw a couple years ago when they were, just on a crazy run, not last year when they were struggling. By the way, Chicharito, this whole thing happened was because apparently he wanted $9 million a year from MLS, and I think MLS has moved past the phase of saying we need these big name guys to sell tickets. Teams are selling tickets or they're not for other reasons other than not having a big name. Yeah, would he bring a big kind of peak quickly for Chicharito because he has a huge Mexican following or global following to Los Angeles or something like that? Of course, but I don't think that's sustainable. So I think it's the right move for MLS to be like, yeah, we're not interested at $9 million a year. I'll do a push-up for every like uploading ASAP, also looking to collab. I don't know what that means. All right, next up, we've got a question for Pat. Actually, we usually get a lot of questions for Pat, but he's such a busy man that we don't know if we can always get him, but we got Pat with us today. Pat, what is the dumbest transfer that you think can happen and or already happened?
Dumbest?
Dumbest.
All right, well,
very specific question.
Walter Restrepo to Tampa Bay Rowdies to start. He left the Cosmos, but no, I guess no one really cares about that one. I don't know about dumbest, but I think about Dembele at Celtic. I know clubs have their eye on him, and I would think it would be dumb for Celtic to let him go ahead of a Champions League run. But I don't think that's on the cards. I think Brendan Rodgers is going to hold on to him.
Do you think it's also dumb that teams aren't willing to spend a lot of money to get him? Do you think he's worth that?
Yes, that is a good flip side of it. I think he's incredible, and I think any team in Europe would be better with him.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to keep you on, though, Pat. We're going to address the haters. This is my favorite part of the show.
Oh, no.
Your favorite part of the show. I'm pretty sure it's you who's in these comments creating fake usernames and sending us
I got a lot of
bunch of junk because, a lot of accounts. So starting with Roman, who says, you didn't show any of his goals. What the hell is wrong with this channel? Outside of MLS, we don't really show goals, right?
Nah, we don't.
We don't have rights. This guy, Samurai Pat, is pretty mad. I still don't get why you guys don't have videos of the goals highlights you talk about. Is it a copyright issue? Yeah,
it is a copyright
that's exactly
issue.
what it is. We don't have rights to games. We've never had rights to games. Yeah, we have rights to MLS highlights because of our partnership with them on some level, but we've never been about the rights. We've never been about highlights. You can go get those somewhere else. Perhaps someday we will have them, but right now our focus is more in the storytelling, telling you our opinion on these types of things, keeping you guys engaged. Am I right? Is there anything else about that? Tony Singh says, when you don't show video, it's boring lame.
When you don't show video, it's boring.
Yeah. That can mean a number of things.
Lame.
Either we didn't put up a video on a day, or we don't have rights to games or something. It's boring lame. I don't really know what he means by that, but...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why everyone's so obsessed about us having highlights all of a sudden. We never have
Yeah, it's not like we took it
But
away.
I hear you. It is nice to see those kind of things, but it's just not a reality. So.
We wouldn't mind having like highlight reels and things like that from the best leagues around the world, but we work with what we got and we try to give you guys a very fan-first perspective as opposed to, you know, what would you rather have, us talking about in any way about any league at any time, or would you rather have highlights and somebody in a suit telling you guys what you have to like and what you should watch and what's going on with the false 9 and the 4-3-2 and the 4-5-5-6-7 stuff.
I couldn't even tell you that.
Yeah, we don't want to tell you that. We just want to hang out with you guys and talk soccer. So I guess that's the end of it, guys. I'm going to keep Pat right here. Guys, comment, like, subscribe. Appreciate your submissions. Keep them coming in. We'll see you guys next time.
He almost crashed into a school of kids.